Hello everyone, welcome to day 8 of our FCHS Fitness Challenge. We're getting started on week 2 today, so that's exciting. Good job if you're still here after week 1. Welcome if you're just starting today. We're going to kind of take a break because we've been working pretty hard the last couple days. We're just going to do an informational video today. If you want to get a nice walk-in or some other cardio activity in while the video plays, please do that. It can be like a podcast. You can listen to me as you exercise. But it is good to kind of incorporate those rest days every now and then. So I've kind of built those in with some tips and tricks videos. So we'll do one on winter exercise today. A lot of times in the winter and even the fall, after daylight savings time, when the days start to get shorter and colder, if we like to exercise outside, we kind of start losing a lot of our weekly minutes because it's just not accommodating out there anymore. It just isn't as fun as it is during the spring and summer, right? Being outside has a lot of great benefits for us. It's good for our bodies because the surroundings change, the surface changes, it forces our bodies to adapt in different ways. It's really good for our mental health, right? Nature, being outside, it helps enhance that relaxation, those energy levels. It's nice out there. And living in New Jersey, we have so many different areas and places to go and see that it can be really nice to just be outdoors. And the other thing I really like about exercising outside and why I try to keep it in my routine throughout the year is that it's budget friendly and it's really easy to access, right? So you don't have to pay anything to use it. You don't need a membership anywhere. So if you want to get your family and friends involved in your routine, it's really easy to bring them along with you, right? And then that adds a layer of accountability to our routines, because if we don't really feel like going out there for that walk, maybe our friend wants to go and we have that sense of, okay, I'll go because I want to spend time with you. So we really don't want to lose that during this time of the year, because then it can be hard to restart that routine when things finally do start to warm up and lighten up, right? We're starting to get longer days. I noticed it yesterday sitting around in the evening. It was nice, didn't get dark till 5:30. So we're getting there. We're coming out of these winter months. So these are some tips and tricks that I've kind of found throughout the years that are good for exercising during the winter, during the cold. We actually did an extended version of this video last year with one of our dietetic interns. So if you're really interested in this topic or just looking for two personal trainers chatting for 20 minutes about various things related to exercise, definitely go find that video. It is on our YouTube channel under the tips and tricks playlist. That is a really great video, but I'll do the short version today, the kind of condensed version. So we're gonna start. My first kind of tip is to layer appropriately. So that one can be a bit of a barrier for people, right? I know it is for me. I'm a runner, so I'm a runner who doesn't like to be hot, okay? I'd rather be cold than hot. So when I'm running and I have to layer, it's just torment, because eventually I will be warm and then I'll be too warm. So depending on our activity, this might be, or our tolerance to cold too, this might be a challenge. So what really helps is to think about layering in three layers, okay, and kind of tailoring those to what you think would work for you best, and doing a little bit of trial and error to find the fit. So for me, for my activity, I usually just do a pair of moisture wicking leggings, okay, like a spandexy material. My legs heat up pretty quick. If it's really cold or windy, I'll select a pair that are fleece lined. But then that helps kind of keep the heat in. Some people, you might want to even layer your pants if you're walking, if you're in a windy area, if you're really intolerant to cold, that might be a good option for you. But for a lot of people, like the one pair will be really good. If you do find you get overheated in a sense, they do have nice leggings. The ones I have on today actually have like slits here in the middle, so I do get a little bit of air if I'm starting to get hot. That kind of releases some heat and it helps me kind of manage the middle of my run where I do start to get a little warm and wondering if I should have worn shorts even though it's 35 degrees outside. So I have a feeling bikers might understand the sentiment too of being too hot. So the pants, do what works for you. As far as our shirts, you want to have a base layer. So this again should be a moisture wicking material. I like a tighter fit because it's easier to layer on top of that. So I have this on here. Then you want to think of a middle layer, okay? The middle layer is really going to be responsible for keeping most of that heat in. So we want our base layer to be something breathable, so if we get to the point where we are pretty warm. If we're down at this base layer, we can manage it well. It's not trapping heat in, it's not getting all sweaty and making us colder, because if we get stuck in that sweat and the cold air, it's just not a pleasant time. So when we're looking at our middle layer, we want it to be something easy to remove. I like the quarter zips a lot, because then I can even play with the length of the zipper to kind of add or release more heat. So I would put this on in the middle. Okay, now I have 2 layers. You can see this is still a material it's breathable, it's slightly waterproof. It's kind of like that shiny material, that's what I call it. Kind of that spandexy, stretchy material. This quarter zip has like a nice little fleece layer too, so that it's really, I like this one a lot when it's windy, because it just kind of protects that middle layer from the wind, from the elements a little bit too. So if it's too warm for my outer layer, at least I have this for a little bit to kind of protect me from the weather. The third layer you guys can have, and you may play with this one. This is the one that I know I play around with a lot. So the outer layer should, again, you still want it to be breathable, but you want it to be able to protect you from the wind, the rain, the snow, the ice, whatever funky thing we're getting in the winter. So a jacket is a really good option. It's really good, especially if you're walking, you're not going to build up too much heat, but you might get a little warm. If you are doing something a little more involved, you're doing like running, biking, jogging, walking really fast uphill, if you get really warm. What I really like are these hooded sweatshirts, because then I still have a hood to protect me from the rain and the wind. It's the same type of material as my middle layer. Let me put it on here. Woo! Same kind of material, so if it is a little wet outside, at least it protects me from getting that wind and rain and everything right up against my skin. I have this hood here to protect me from the water, but it's nice, and then I can easily take it off when I get too warm. If it's really windy, I also add a vest, and sometimes if it's warmer, like today, it'll probably be around 40 degrees by the time I get out for my run. I'll probably just do my vest as the middle layer, but if it's really cold, I have that kind of in place of a jacket. So I do my hoodie and my vest, and then that helps manage everything. Okay, it also has pockets. I like pockets, so I try to wear that on the outside when I can. So once we're all layered up, we're ready to go. You also want to take a quick inventory of what extremities are still out there in the nature. All right, so for me right now, it's my face and my hands. So hats are really good to kind of cover and protect our head. I have a lot of hair, as you can see. So hats don't really stay on my head when my hair is up. So I really like these earmuffs if you're also a person that has trouble wearing hats or hoods. These are really good. They just strap on, kind of like a headband, and it keeps the ears nice and warm, covers most of my forehead, and it's easy to remove if it gets too warm, right? It's easy to adjust if I just want it over my ears and not so much over my forehead. Really great, okay? So that's a good option if anyone else has issues with hats like I do. For the rest of our face, you can do scarves. I like these neck gaiters, okay? Because I can loop them around my ears. Woo. And then that can be a nice level of protection. The nice thing about the scarves and the neck gaiters, other than just some warmth there, if you have trouble breathing outside when it's really cold, that can happen to a lot of people because as we breathe in the cold air, it hits our respiratory tract and it kind of makes it constrict a little bit because it's cold. It makes breathing uncomfortable. So if you're one of those people that really struggles with that, if you keep the scarf or the neck gaiter over your mouth and your nose, okay, if it's tolerable for you to breathe through that, that can help warm the air before it hits that respiratory system, which can make breathing a little easier. So that is a really good trick. It's also great protection for the wind. I'll sometimes wear mine just around my mouth like this because at least it protects the sides of my face. So really good option. And again, something that's easy to remove if it starts to get a little too warm. All right, once we're all layered, we get to our footwear. And this is again where if you need some help with your footwear, definitely check out that longer video on our tips and tricks in the winter. Make sure your shoes have good traction for the exercise you're about to perform. All right, you want to make sure they're good shoes. So if you haven't gotten new shoes in a while, might be time to take a look at them. Get ones that are good for the activity you're doing. If you're on trails a lot, maybe look at trail shoes. If you run a lot, make sure you have good support in your shoes. All those fun sorts of things. I show in the other video a pair of my favorite sneakers that are just, the soles are falling off and there's holes in them. And I know a lot of us, we get attached to those shoes and we really don't want to give them up because we've had them for so long and they're so comfortable. But this is not the time of year to use shoes like that, right? Because there's ice, there's wet patches, there's leaves around. Sometimes there's tree branches. I know where I live, there's rocks and trees everywhere because the wind just kind of drags things around. So just be careful, protect yourselves as much as possible, get those good shoes. The other thing, depending on what time of day you're out, but even if you're out during the day, visibility is lower in the winter, right? So especially if you're on roads, try to wear bright colors. You'll notice my middle layer was that really bright blue. This is a purple. I know it doesn't come across as well in the video, but it's a nice bright purple, so I'm easy to see. I even have really bright colored pants that I'm not wearing today because they don't match anything, and I didn't want you guys to laugh at me, but bright pants so that I'm easier to see for cars. Because in the winter, I mean, I know myself as a driver, I expect people to be outside in the spring and summer. I'm not always thinking about it in the winter until I'm like right up on them. And if they're wearing black or gray, that can get pretty close sometimes, right? So wear nice bright colors. If you're gonna be out close to dark, add like a reflective thing. So these are straps and they just blink lights, okay? So that cars can see me, or even other bikers or other people outside can see me when I'm outside. The bright colors again are really important. They have really nice reflective vests for dogs and people. You can put that if you're walking your dog at night, put one on your dog, put one on yourself, get those lights, make sure you're easy to see, and carry a flashlight. I noticed the phone flashlights are not that bright, just using them for yourself. Make sure you have a real actual flashlight. That'll kind of help you manage that. All right, so you can see better and people can see you a little bit better. Another thing that we don't always think of in the winter is applying our sunscreen, right? My face is still out there in the elements here, even though the rest of my body really isn't. I also put some on my hands. I didn't mention the gloves when we were going over our layering. If you wear gloves, you probably don't have to worry about sunscreen on your hands. If you need your fingers, all right, or if you just don't like having the gloves, put the sunscreen on your hands and try to have a shirt that has these holes, the thumb holes, so that at least most of your hands are still protected from the wind. And then you can even, I do this a lot, I just put my hands in my sleeves, and then when I start to get warm, I pop them out, and then eventually I can take them out of that. All right, so wear your sunscreen, put it over anything that's still showing. We might not get sunburnt in the winter, but the sun's rays can still damage our skin. Okay, so we want to be cognizant of that. We want to get the vitamin D, but we don't want to get the melanoma, right? We want to balance that one out. All right, our last one. Bring some water with you, okay? So it's really important that we still hydrate in the winter months because, well, not because, we should hydrate every time of year, but in the winter we don't always notice that we're thirsty, all right? We're not getting as thirsty necessarily. We might not be sweating as much. It's not as warm outside. So we don't really have those signals all the time. So make sure you're hydrating before your workout, during it, after. If you're gonna be out for a long time, take some water with you. They have really good vests. I have one right here. Again, it's a nice bright color so cars can see me. That have little pockets. All right, you can put water in here, you can put snacks in there, you can put your phone in there. So there's really no excuses to not take water with you. All right, I know it can get kind of cumbersome to carry all of this stuff, and that can be a big barrier for people too, right? Especially with layering. We don't like to layer because then we get warm, like I mentioned before, and then we're carrying around all these clothes, and then it's annoying. There's no other way to work around that. So a really good tip that I found through lots of years of trial and error, and you guys might laugh at me that it took me this long to figure this out, but try to organize your route around your house or your car if you drive somewhere to exercise, because then you can just drop layers off as you don't need them anymore. All right, you don't have to hide them behind a tree and try to remember which tree it was when you loop back, or tie it around your waist. Just throw it in your yard, throw it in your car, get everything organized when you get back. So like today, I'll go out for my run. I'm gonna go down this direction in my road, and then I'm gonna turn around, come back, because the road is shorter in that direction. And when I loop past my house, I'm probably gonna dump the sweatshirt and the vest because it's gonna be like 40 degrees by that point. And then I'm gonna go and do the rest of my run, loop around the longer end of my road, okay? And that really helps because now I don't have to worry about carrying it. I'm still warm throughout the majority of when I need to be warm, okay? It's probably gonna take a good mile or so for my body to heat up. So I'll have the layers on for that. And once I start to get warm, I can strip down and get a little more comfortable for the rest of my run there, all right? So that's a really good way to manage that. Before you go outside, now we're dressed, now we're getting ready to go. Make sure you warm up appropriately. So it's always best to do this indoors. When it's winter, what do? I mentioned this in one of the other videos this week. When we're cold, we kind of get even more tight and we're trying to stay warm. We might be shivering, all those muscles tighten. So if we're already kind of in that tighter space right before a workout, part of the reason we warm up is to get our bodies prepared for that exercise, to loosen the muscles, open the joints, get that heart rate up nice and easy, not all at once. So in the winter, if we skip that, we're already entering in that kind of unwarm state, and then the initial reaction to going outside is to kind of constrict even further because we're trying to keep our body heat. So warm up, it'll help you when you get out there because you'll already be warm. You're not going to feel that slam of like, oh, it's so cold out, I don't want to be outside. It's really helpful. So it doesn't have to be extensive. Remember, we're doing like a march in place yesterday. When I go out for a run, I like to do some hip openers before. I'll do some active stretching, and that's usually enough to kind of work up a little bit of a sweat, especially when I'm dressed in 3 layers. And then I'm ready to go when I'm outside. Okay, if you're someone that drives to a location to exercise, stay in your heated car until you're ready to go outside. I know a lot of people, including me, I get somewhere, I turn the car off, and then I get distracted by my phone or remember something I had to do when I got home, and now I gotta write that down so I don't forget it later. And then by the time I actually get out of my car, I'm freezing again because I waited too long to get outside. So get to where you're going, turn the car off, layer up, get outside, go. Okay, try to stay warm because that'll really help you. When you're done exercising, you still want to cool down. You might not feel like you need to because it's already cold, but take that time to slowly kind of reverse that exercise, right? We want to slowly lower the heart rate now. We want to stretch again. We want to keep those muscles feeling good. So if you can get back inside to do that, that's ideal. If you're really out and you only have your car, try to at least start your car before you start like a stretching routine or anything like that, because then when you're done stretching and you're done cooling down, you can get in a nice warm car. Put your layers back on too. Try to stay, even if you feel really warm, just put them back on because it'll help ease that process a bit, because once you cool down, you're going to get cold really fast if you don't have your layers back on. So try to put that on if you're going to be outside for a little bit in the interim. All right, that's all I have for you. I know that's a lot, but I hope this kind of helps manage these it's New Jersey, so we'll probably be in winter until like the end of March, next like 2 or 3 months. All right, hopefully we'll have some nice good days in there. But again, don't let the winter totally derail your exercise if you like to be outside. Just there's ways to manage it. Definitely some good ideas to help you do that. And try to get a buddy, try to get some family or friends to go with you, because then even if it is cold, even if you're not feeling too great, at least you have someone to help pass the time with you and to complain about the coldness with. And strength in numbers, right? If anything, bring your dog. Dogs are always excited to go outside even when it's cold. When the dog doesn't want to go outside, it's probably too cold to be outside. So that's usually my advice there. All right, I'm gonna head out now for my run. I hope you guys get a walk in today or some well-deserved rest. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow for our next exercise video.